He didn't look like a monster. Ted Bundy looked like someone you could trust. Educated, calm, polite. The kind of man people felt safe around. In the 1970s, he lived what appeared to be a normal life. He had plans for the future, a steady routine, and a woman who loved him. Together, they looked like an ordinary couple. Nothing about him raised alarms. Nothing felt dangerous. But while his life seemed perfectly normal, something else was happening. Young women were disappearing. No screams, no witnesses, no clear signs of a struggle. At first, no one connected the cases. Different cities, different locations, different stories. Police believed these disappearances were isolated incidents, unfortunate but unrelated. Then patterns began to emerge. Several women described the same man. He appeared injured, he asked for help, and he always introduced himself with the same name: Ted. Still, the police hesitated. Evidence was thin. Witness statements didn't always match, and Ted Bundy looked far too normal to be dangerous. He didn't fit the image of a killer. But one person began to feel uneasy: the woman who lived with him, the woman who shared his life, the woman who trusted him. She started noticing small details, inconsistencies she couldn't explain, moments that felt wrong, and slowly, a terrifying thought began to form, a thought she didn't want to believe. What if the man I love, what if the man I trust is the one everyone is searching for? At first, the disappearances felt distant. Different cities, different women, different days. Nothing that clearly pointed to one person. Police treated each case separately. Missing persons, no witnesses, no physical evidence. Just unanswered questions piling up. But some of the women who survived told similar stories. They described a man who appeared injured. Sometimes his arm was in a cast. Sometimes he asked for help carrying books or groceries. He was polite, soft-spoken. He didn't threaten anyone. He asked, and that made people lower their guard. Several witnesses remembered the same detail. The man introduced himself with a name that was easy to trust: Ted. Still, investigators hesitated. There were no clear connections strong enough to make an arrest, and the man they were hearing about didn't fit the profile. Ted Bundy was educated, well-spoken. He volunteered. He blended in. Then the calls began. One woman kept contacting the police. She wasn't reporting a crime. She was reporting a feeling. She told them her boyfriend owned items that didn't belong to him, that he disappeared for long periods of time, that his explanations never fully made sense. Her name was Elizabeth Cloffer. At first, her concerns were noted and dismissed. There was no proof, only suspicion. But suspicion was slowly turning into something much more dangerous. As more women disappeared, police could no longer ignore the similarities. The cases weren't random. Too many details lined up to be coincidence. Witness descriptions began to overlap. The same calm approach, the same polite requests for help, the same name: Ted. His name had appeared before, quietly, almost unnoticed. At the time, there were no bodies, no clear crime scenes, nothing strong enough to support murder charges, only suspicion. Investigators reviewed old reports, phone calls that had been logged and forgotten, tips that hadn't seemed important at the time. Slowly, a pattern began to form. In 1974, Ted Bundy was arrested for the first time, not for murder, but for kidnapping and assault. Inside the courtroom, he didn't look like a criminal. He looked confident, educated, in control. He spoke clearly, corrected lawyers, challenged witnesses, and exposed mistakes in the investigation. Evidence was questioned, testimonies didn't hold, and the case began to collapse from the inside. Bundy walked free. For investigators, it was a devastating failure. They believed they had the right man, but not the proof. For the families of missing women, it felt like justice had disappeared once again. But the most dangerous moment came after. Ted Bundy now knew the police were watching him. He knew how close he had come to being stopped, and he understood exactly how the system hesitated. That knowledge changed everything. He became more careful, more controlled, and far more dangerous. Eventually, Ted Bundy was arrested again, and this time, everything was different. Police now had survivors willing to testify, witnesses who described the same man, the same calm voice, the same manipulation, the same name, Ted. Investigators rebuilt the timeline piece by piece, where he was, who he spoke to, how he approached his victims, and how he disappeared before anyone realized something was wrong. The image Bundy had carefully created began to fall apart. In court, he tried to stay in control. He questioned witnesses, challenged procedures, delayed the process again and again. He believed the system would fail one more time, but it didn't. This time, the evidence held, the stories matched, and the jury was convinced. Ted Bundy was found guilty. The sentence was death. For the families of the victims, the verdict did not bring peace. Nothing could bring back the people they had lost, but it confirmed what they had known for years. The man responsible was finally held accountable. Even after the sentence, Bundy continued to deny responsibility. He gave interviews. He shifted blame. He tried to control the narrative until the very end. But control was no longer his. On January 24, 1989, Ted Bundy was executed in Florida. The man who had blended into everyday life, who had been trusted, defended, and underestimated, was gone. But the damage remained. Dozens of lives had been taken. Families were changed forever. And the case exposed something deeply unsettling, not just about one man, but about how easily danger can hide behind normality. Because Ted Bundy wasn't caught by instinct. He wasn't stopped early. He was stopped after years of warnings, doubts, and missed chances. And the question that still haunts this story isn't about him. It's about everything that allowed him to stay free for so long.